tech in this video, you'll see the exact cluster that these were cloned from. Now this next picture is 72 hours later, so these are 7 days after birthing, and they're just about ready for harvest. This is just about the perfect stage for picking. These pictures were sent in by Fatster, and this is a beautiful flush here. All of these cakes are in a small terrarium, just like the one we made. And this second picture
Mushrooms
is the same set of cakes
I used to
about
grow
3
mushrooms
days
like that.
later.
They're so easy to grow. They're so fun.
This picture is one of Fatster's cakes from the terrarium removed. You can see here these cakes are double stacked. What Fatster does is he takes 2 of these half-pint cakes and stacks one on top of the other, and then puts a layer of vermiculite on top of those that he can then pour water into to keep them hydrated. The secret to growing a lot of mushrooms and to getting good size on your mushrooms is making sure that you're able to give them plenty of water, so remember that. Well, coming back to some of my own pictures now, this is Hericium, the lion's mane mushroom, and this is another excellent candidate for growing on these cakes. As you can see, the one that found an opening and grew out through it looks much better than the ones on the inside. The Hericium is very much CO2 intolerant, and after this mushroom grew out and looked so pretty on the outside, I started leaving the lid completely off of the terrarium, and the rest of the ones inside recovered and started looking very well too. So if you do decide to grow the lion's mane by this method, leave the lid completely off of your terrarium and then just mist a time or 2 a day, and they will thrive. Now finally, in closing, I'd like to leave you with one of my favorite mushrooms. This is the shiitake mushroom. It's very tasty, as well as one of the most powerful anti-cancer foods you can eat. They grow very well on brown rice flour cakes. The only difference that I use is I substitute sawdust for the vermiculite in the mix. Everything else remains the same. You're going to use 1 cup of water, 1 cup of brown rice flour, and 2 cups of sawdust. Now, at the end of your colonization, when your jar is fully colonized, allow it to sit for at least 2 weeks after that point. This allows your mycelium to digest the food that it has just colonized. We call this consolidation. At the end of that consolidation period, go ahead and burr the cakes and wash them under the faucet very well. You want to remove as much of the vermiculite contamination barrier that you put in place as what will readily wash off. and then soak your cakes overnight in water, then stick them right back in the jar and place into a terrarium for fruiting. Now, you'll notice from these pictures that the mushrooms themselves are forming at the glass cake interface where the humidity is real high, and then they climb out looking for air. So that's an advantage. When I used to bird the cakes directly into the terrarium, they'd sit there for a long time and not fruit, or they'd make very small mushrooms. Leaving them in the jar like this works much better. In addition, when you leave them in the jar, about once every 4 or 5 days, you can run some water into the jar. I like to fill the jar all the way up and then let the cake sit in the water for about 3 or 4 hours. This rehydrates it. You'll notice anytime you're growing rather large mushrooms on a small substrate, they just suck all the moisture out. The leading cause of small mushrooms with these cakes, regardless of species, is running out of water. So by having them in the jar like this, you can essentially soak them every 4 or 5 days and keep them fully hydrated so you'll get nice, luscious, juicy mushrooms. Also, I'd like to point out, in addition to the information contained in this video and some of the excellent books on the subject, there's also some very good online mushroom forums where you can go to and read up. People will share their pictures and their information and techniques, and you can also ask questions and get them answered. One of the best is shroomery.org, so visit there, scroll through the posts, look at the pictures, and feel free to ask and have your questions answered for you. Happy mushrooming!